These brutal champions had been at the very peak of their careers, carving paths of destruction through their divisions, scoring knockout after knockout against some of the finest fighters in the world. They had battered, bloodied, and dismantled rivals with merciless precision, yet when they stood across the ring from the man they called the Monster, their aura of invincibility crumbled. They entered the arena with pride and belief but left humbled, having faced a force unlike anything they had known. On December 13, 2022, at the Ariake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, Naoya Inoue stepped into the ring for a night that had the entire arena buzzing with anticipation. His opponent was Paul, the baby-faced assassin Butler of Britain, a skilled, disciplined boxer with a resume that commanded respect. Butler was no ordinary challenger. He had captured the 2018-19 World Boxing Super Series bantamweight title and dismantled his rivals with ruthless efficiency. In this fight, Butler brought his WBO bantamweight belt, while Inoue put up his WBA, WBC, IBF, and the ring bantamweight titles. It was billed as a battle for the undisputed crown at 118 pounds, a rare unification that promised history. But making the bantamweight limit was no easy task for Inoue. Butler and his camp hoped the weight cut would drain the Japanese star's stamina, believing that if they could survive into the championship rounds, the tide might turn in their favor. Butler later admitted that they knew Inoue had looked tight at the weight and hoped fatigue would play a role. But the champion's confidence, even in the days before the fight, was unshakable. From the opening bell, Inoue's intentions were clear. He stalked forward, launching sharp combinations with speed and power that commanded immediate respect. Once Butler tasted the force of Inoue's shots, the fight's tone shifted. The once aggressive challenger tightened his guard, retreating into a shell, moving constantly to avoid exchanges. Whenever Butler attempted to counter, Inoue punished him with precision strikes. The Brit's high guard protected his liver, a known Inoue target, but left him absorbing relentless attacks elsewhere. As the rounds progressed, Inoue entered what could only be described as a state of complete dominance. He was sharp, elusive, and utterly in control. He showcased his full arsenal, from the Ollie Shuffle to Roy Jones Jr. style feints, all while delivering punishing blows. Butler remained almost entirely defensive, reluctant to engage, and Inoue responded by turning the bout into both a showcase of skill and a demonstration of his cruel finishing instincts. He cut off the ring, kept the pressure suffocating, and denied his opponent even a moment to reset. By the 11th round, Inoue still had the same fire he'd shown at the start. A surge of energy seemed to flow through him as he threw a crushing right hand followed by a heavy left, breaking through Butler's defenses. After absorbing sustained punishment, Butler could no longer withstand the storm. Inoue delivered a devastating combination that ended the fight by knockout, handing Butler his first defeat in 9 bouts. And the aftermath, Butler openly admitted to being overwhelmed by Inoue's presence and ring control. He recalled stepping into the ring, feeling the Japanese champion subtly forcing him into the exact positions he wanted, even before throwing a punch. That, Butler acknowledged, was the mark of a truly elite fighter. With this victory, Inoue became the first undisputed bantamweight champion since Enrique Pinder defeated Rafael Herrera in 1972. The win was another milestone in Inoue's already glittering career, but it was not the peak. While Butler's momentum faded after the loss, despite picking up 2 knockouts in 2023, he has since been inactive. Inoue sought new challenges. He moved up to super bantamweight, immediately targeting the division's top man, Stephen "Cool Boy" Fulton of Philadelphia. On July 25, 2023, at the Ariake Arena once again, the atmosphere was electric. Inoue, the Japanese sensation who had terrorized the bantamweight division, was stepping into uncharted territory. His opponent, Fulton, was the undefeated unified WBC and WBO super bantamweight champion, a fighter celebrated for his technical skill, defensive mastery, and ring IQ. For the first time in his career, Inoue entered a major fight, with many believing he might lose. Critics argued Fulton's size, reach, and craft would be too much for the smaller man, and the tense build-up. The two men faced off in a charged atmosphere. Fulton stared deep into Inoue's eyes, whispering words meant to unsettle him. Both camps had to be separated before things escalated. It was the kind of pre-fight tension that hinted at something special to come. When the bell rang, Fulton came forward with intent, refusing to be intimidated. For a brief moment, he seemed willing to trade, standing his ground against Inoue's forward march. But soon, the Japanese fighter found his rhythm. His punches sliced through Fulton's guard, snapping the champion's head back and forcing him onto the back foot. The speed, accuracy, and timing were unlike anything Fulton had faced. He adjusted, moving more, trying to frustrate his opponent, but Inoue cut off the ring with surgical precision. By the third round, Fulton attempted to press again, determined to show he would not be bullied. Yet each foray into the pocket was met with swift, punishing counters. The exchanges grew more one-sided as the rounds passed, with Inoue landing at will while slipping most of Fulton's return fire. Fulton's offense seemed to bounce off thin air. Inoue seemed to find the mark every time. In the fifth round, Inoue began to toy with his opponent, mixing speed and power in ways that kept Fulton guessing. His jab was a spear, his hooks like whips, and his body shots thunderous. The tension mounted as Fulton's famed composure began to crack. In the sixth, Inoue exploded. A massive right hand shook Fulton, sending him into retreat. Inoue pounced, cutting off his escape, and dropped Fulton for the first time in his career with a savage combination. Fulton rose, but the end was inevitable. Inoue cornered him, unleashing a furious barrage until the referee stepped in to halt the contest. In that moment, the Japanese star had not only captured Fulton's WBC and WBO belts but also announced himself as a dominant force at a fourth weight class. Even Fulton, gracious in defeat, admitted afterward that Inoue's ring IQ and adaptability were on another level entirely. 6 months later, Inoue faced Marlon Tapales and stopped him to become the undisputed super bantamweight champion, adding yet another layer to his legend. By then, the whispers had already started. Could he move up again to featherweight and wreak the same havoc? That question lingered until May 6th, under the bright lights of the legendary Tokyo Dome. Inoue was set to defend his WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA super bantamweight titles against dangerous Mexican southpaw Luis Neri. On paper, Inoue was the heavy favorite. By this point, he was an unstoppable juggernaut, a four-division champion with an unbeaten record and a reputation for destroying opponents. Fans came expecting another masterclass, but this night would prove different. This night, the monster would be tested in a way he hadn't been before. Neri was no ordinary challenger. Known as Pantera, he was aggressive, powerful, and unafraid of war. With 35 wins and 27 knockouts, he brought southpaw unpredictability and a hunger to shock the world. Many dismissed his chances, but those familiar with his style knew he was dangerous. The opening bell brought immediate chaos. There was no feeling out round, no cautious jabs. Inoue charged forward, throwing a wild right hand, but Neri was ready. The Mexican countered with a crushing left that landed flush and sent Inoue to the canvas for the first time in his career. The crowd was stunned. Inoue rose quickly, but his legs betrayed him with a brief wobble. For a moment, the unshakable aura around him seemed to flicker. Neri tried to capitalize, throwing heavy shots in pursuit of an early stoppage. But Inoue's championship composure saved him. He weathered the storm, surviving the round. In the second, the Japanese champion emerged refocused and determined. His jab became a weapon of control, snapping Neri's head back repeatedly. He went to the body with sharp rights, then unleashed a left hook that dropped Neri hard. The challenger got up, still in the fight, but the momentum had shifted. The third round saw Inoue in full command. He worked behind the jab, controlling distance, and mixing head and body attacks. Neri still swung for the fences with his left, but his accuracy waned as Inoue's timing took over. By the fourth, the Japanese star began to taunt his opponent, inviting him to throw and punishing every mistake, and the fifth, Inoue dissected Neri with surgical precision. Every shot seemed designed to break down the Mexican's resistance. Late in the round, another perfectly placed left hook sent Neri to the floor for the second time. He rose again, but the damage was telling. The sixth round was the finale. Inoue stepped forward with cold intent, landing a right uppercut followed by a straight right that staggered Neri badly. A final, blistering combination sent the challenger crashing down. The referee waved it off, sealing another emphatic victory for the monster. It had been a night of drama, danger, and ultimately dominance. For the first time in years, Inoue had looked vulnerable, but he had turned adversity into another triumph, reinforcing his reputation as the finest fighter in the lower weight divisions. From Butler to Fulton to Neri, the story was the same. Opponents entered the ring confident, prepared, and determined, only to be dismantled by the combination of speed, precision, power, and tactical brilliance that defines Naoya Inoue. Whether pressing forward with relentless aggression or adapting mid-fight to neutralize a threat, he has shown an ability to dominate at every level. As the boxing world debates who might possibly challenge him next, the truth remains: few in any division can match the monster from Japan.